A disorder known as polycephaly causes an animal to be born with two heads. It is viewed as a blessing in certain cultures and a curse in others. Alternatively, a two-headed cow is quite common if you're playing Fallout. Regardless of what people may believe, we can all agree that creatures with this condition are genuinely bizarre. So make sure to remain until number 1, as we'll be looking at 10 strange two-headed animals today. Number 10. Squirt and crush. There have been quite a few instances of two-headed turtles. However, the most of them belong to the smaller species. These types of mutations are significantly more uncommon in larger animals. So when a juvenile loggerhead turtle with two heads was found a few months ago, it generated a lot of media attention. A sea turtle patrol found a very uncommon two-headed loggerhead hatchling on Hilton Island in South Carolina as it frantically tried to catch up with its siblings as they made their way to the water. Despite having a deformed shell that made mobility incredibly challenging, it was extremely lively and energetic. According to the individuals who found the twins, Squirt and Crush, this is an incredibly rare discovery in the area, with the previous one occurring 15 long years ago. Only 1 in 1,000 turtle hatchlings are predicted to survive to adulthood in the wild, making their situation extremely tough. There is almost no chance that this hatchling would have stayed in the wild if it hadn't been found. The twins' discovery is fortunate because it should at least increase their chances of surviving. Number 9. The two-headed cardinal. Some of the rarest animals having two heads are birds. Because any animal with this mutation has little to no chance of surviving in the wild, this must be the reason. Therefore, the discovery of this bird in western Massachusetts was rather unusual. This discovery is even more unique and, to be honest, a little strange because the bird also had two beaks in addition to having two heads. Cardinals have started fluttering around Northampton resident April Britt's property. When she noticed this was weird, she continued looking into what was happening. She discovered this tiny bird on one of the tree's lower branches during her research. The bird was clothed in juvenile feathers, but it was pretty apparent that it was already a few weeks old and yet young. Even the local news reported on the find, and Britt was asked about her discovery. Unfortunately, it is not anticipated that the bird will live that long. According to experts, the poor little animal could not fly because of its deformities. Number 8. The first of its kind. While birds and two-headed turtles are both fairly common in a sense, the century after this one on our list is the first of its type. In 2017, a Dutch fisherman caught something incredibly strange in his nets while fishing in the North Sea. Along with this day's catch, he also discovered a deformed animal that was obviously young. It was unfortunate that the creature had died, and because people believed it was forbidden to retain such an animal, they fished it out of the ocean. Then he returned it to the water, but not before snapping a few pictures of it. Experts determined after looking at the images that what the fisherman had discovered was a young two-headed harbor porpoise. Conjoined twins in whales and dolphins are incredibly uncommon, according to Erwin Campacci of the National Museum of History in Rotterdam, who was only aware of 9 other reported occurrences globally. Number 7. Lucky the calf. Lucky the two-headed calf was born on the McCubbins farm in Kentucky, which they share as husband and wife. The couple claim that they have never seen an animal quite like Lucky in their 7 years of farming. Lucky technically has 2 faces instead of 2 heads, each of which has 2 eyes, 2 noses, and 2 mouths. However, Lucky appeared only to have 1 brain because when the McCubbins attempted to feed one mouth, the other mouth responded in unison. Lucky now has an even rarer form of polycephaly. Piqued the interest of a veterinary team from the University of Illinois, who wanted to perform an operation that might help extend her life. Even so, the McCubbins succeeded in raising $1,200 for the operation. She abruptly stopped eating just 1 week prior to the surgery, and she tragically passed away. She survived for 108 days, breaking the previous record of only about 40 days for a calf born with 2 faces. Number 6. The goat from Kazakhstan. We switch from one type of animal to another just across the globe. An extremely healthy newborn goat was born on a remote farm in Kazakhstan. Healthy, but with a minor issue. Like Lucky, the calf that we met earlier, this child was born with 2 faces on 1 head and appears to be doing well. It had 2 faces. In fact, a viral video that circulated online demonstrated how busy it was. Even though it wasn't expected, livestock with these mutations seldom reach maturity, and there were very high expectations for this child. It was even nursing from its mother without any problems. Unfortunately, this narrative has a depressing conclusion, much like the other entries on our list. Its mother, who had previously permitted the baby to nurse from her, abruptly ceased doing so. She even attempted to flee out of fear. The farmer did not, however, separate the mother and child. The mother then accidentally squashed the child one night as she was attempting to flee from it. A really tragic conclusion that denied us the chance to witness one of these magnificent and obviously strange animals in its complete adult form. Rest in peace, Cody. Rest in peace. Number 5. The two-headed dragon. As far as we are aware, dragons are mythical animals. While a two-headed dragon wouldn't seem out of place in a fantasy book or video game, we're obviously not talking about an actual dragon here. But it is a fact that a two-headed dragon does exist. There has never been any evidence of dragons on Earth, much less a two-headed one. It is a living creature that belonged to a man who holds the record for having the greatest collection of two-headed animals in the Guinness Book of World Records. Even though that entry is weirdly particular, hey, more power to him. In addition to being a Grammy-winning record producer, Tellet Ray is an obsessive collector of two-headed animals, with his specimens of two-headed bearded dragons appearing to be the collection's highlight. And yes, you heard correctly, he has more than one of them. He bought Lefty and Poncho in 2010 and a second specimen in 2012 that he fittingly dubbed Jekyll and Hyde. Having two specimens of two-headed bearded dragons may seem excessive to you, but it is just the tip of the iceberg. Jekyll exhibits more muted behavior than its conjoined twin brother Hyde. Ray also proudly owns the one and only example of a three-headed turtle. Unfortunately, the only reason I didn't make a list was the third-head turtle. You know not to discriminate, but two heads, only three, it's a crowd. Number 4. Lambs, lambs, and more lambs. The most frequently observed polycephaly in animals appears to be in lambs. You can find numerous references to this phenomenon involving lambs by conducting a quick Google search. A two-headed lamb was born in New South Wales as recently as 2017. The lamb was born with its hind legs first, which shocked its owner, according to the farmer who owns it. As the farmer was attempting to pull the lamb out, the poor lamb broke its leg, but eventually made a full recovery. Though earlier in 2008, another two-headed lamb was born at a refugee camp in the West Bank and was revered by camp farmers. No word of it ever matured. In their prime, sideshows and traveling carnivals featured two additional lambs frequently. Barnum's Traveling Circus is well known for displaying such oddities, frequently inventing absurd and made-up backstories. Number 3. Two-headed little pigs. When a farmer in Luzhou, Sichuan, China learned that one of his cherished sows had given birth to a litter of healthy piglets, including one that was rather exceptional, he was shocked and proud. If it wasn't already clear why this piglet was unique, what would it be? It was born with two heads, I suppose. To be more precise, it has two factions, fused into one head, rather than two separate heads. It had 3 eyes, 2 snouts, and 2 jaws. It immediately rose to local celebrity status in that Chinese tiny town, as was to be expected. Zhang Guan, the farmer, claimed that he had been caring for the sow for 3 years before she gave birth to the pigs, including the piglet with 2 heads. He also said that ragweed was the only food he gave his animals, save for the sow, to which he gave nothing extra. The farmer refused to sell the piglet despite being offered the equivalent of $300. The farmer's kid reportedly fell in love with it and wanted to keep it as a valued pet. In China, going big seems to be rather common. For instance, a two-headed piglet was discovered abandoned in front of a Buddhist temple in Tianjin in 2015, despite another being born just a few months previously in Chongqing. Number 2. Bears and snakes. The most pleasing image of the day depicts two animals, both of which have 2 heads and are rather frightful if you come across them in the wild. One of them is genuine, and the other isn't. That is the only distinction between them. Care to guess which one is genuine? If the bear is your response, you should have your eyes examined. That one is obviously a photoshopped image. Additionally, there are no known cases of two-headed bears anywhere in the world. A fully fledged two-headed bear is merely a fantasy, at least for the time being, due to the rarity of adulthood in all animals with polycephaly. On the other hand, two-headed snakes are a very different story altogether. Two-headed snake sightings are uncommon. However, there have been several confirmed examples from around the globe. Todd Ray's menagerie would probably include a few of them. Anyway, the two-headed albino melon snake in the picture you're looking at has been making the rounds on the internet for a while now. In any event, experts have reviewed the image and found that it is entirely authentic. So in this way, two-headed snakes are real, and two-headed bears are not in a good situation. Number 1. Cuteness comes in pairs. There are millions of images and movies of cats on the internet. Although some dog people, spider people, lizard people, and others who aren't catted people might disagree, it does make one wonder if the internet's true mission is to spread photographs of these adorable little beasts. Cats are incredibly cute, and the number of people who believe this is growing every day. Therefore, it shouldn't be surprising that this kitten's video immediately became viral, especially when you consider that it is a quite adorable yet strange condition. In the Eastern Cape of South Africa, a house cat gave birth to Betty B in 2017. She is one of a litter of 3 kittens, but Betty B has a special quality. She had 2 faces at birth. Betty B's double face makes it challenging for her to nurse. Therefore, she was in danger of dying from starvation. Therefore, the anonymous savior began beating the kitten twice. Like all the other entries on our list that had a terrible ending, this hairy little fellow was initially prospering, but it didn't survive and passed away only 16 days after birth. Which animal would you want to have as a pet? Please share your thoughts in the comments box below. Thanks for watching. Please click on the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And when you have the chance to tap that bell icon for more videos from us. See you next time.